Hey guys, welcome back to the next challenger. We're excited to have you. This is part 3 of the tier list. We're actually going to do a little bit of reorganizing today. We're going to spend just about a couple minutes talking about which ones need to come off of God tier, go up from dog water after the most recent nerf where they added Greedent. We're really excited to have you guys. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to just go ahead and start from the top and work our way down. What do you guys think of Venusaur real quick? Just do you think he stays here?
Good.
Venusaur is just good.
Yes, I would like to say that Venusaur is just good. I do not see people playing him anymore at all. The only time he's pretty much viable now is if you are a sniper with his solar beam.
Gotcha.
Yep. I'd actually kind of agree with that. I'm going to throw it down to good. Talonflame stays or goes?
I would like to say he's actually dropped a little bit myself as well.
Good? Not so good?
I would put him in good. I mean, I see some people run him, but he's not run as much as Zeraora or Greninja at this point as being a jungle.
Okay. BigShoes, your specific take on Lucario?
People are saying he's a lot squishier now, but I mean, I think that's what needs to happen with him. I don't think he needed to be as tanky as he was, but I think he still deals out the damage and the mobility is nice, so I'd keep him extremely good for right now.
Okay. And also your take on Eldegoss, please.
Eldegoss is a very nice all-around support. Extremely good is probably where he needs to stay too.
All right. Snorlax, do you think that stays? This is a question for all three of us. Honestly, I think it actually goes up to God tier when you pair him with specific mons. But extremely good, I'm sticking with it just because of the fact that, your everyday player that jumps into a game is not going to have these mons that pair nicely with it.
I agree. I have no changes there.
BigShoes?
No, I agree.
Blissy?
For Blissy, I would keep her there.
Yeah, I actually agree. Make your argument.
I agree with that as well, unless you're playing the new freaking Halloween mode, then put it straight into a god tier of its own.
Safeguard is absolutely disgusting in this new mode. Basically, you just can't turn into a pumpkin. That's insane. Anyway, enough said there. I agree with that. Ninetales. I am actually considering moving it down a little bit. It didn't even get a buff or a nerf, but because of this new meta, I just don't see people playing it either.
I agree with that.
I'm in the same.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move that down. This one, not so good anymore. Kind of. I think it should be in the not so good / good tier just because it got super nerfed on all of its ult. All of its damage is gone. The only thing it still has that it retained is its beefiness. Thoughts?
I mean, it did
a
receive
buff?
a buff. It did. Its water spout has gotten a buff. That is it, though.
But that wasn't viable to begin with, and now you're kind of making it mediocre. You're only pairing it with the Hydro Pump.
If they didn't buff any of the defensive stats and lowered all the damage, then yeah, I would say bump it down.
All right, final vote, because this is the one where we're torn.
Down.
Down?
Down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good or not
Right
so
there.
good? Right there?
Just
Not
good.
so good.
Okay.
Really?
Zeraora.
I would like to keep Zeraora where it's at, actually. I'm personally leaning towards the more opinionated end on this because I just played a lot in my ranked and I've
Move it
been
down.
seeing it No, I'd keep it where it's at. I've
Okay.
seen everybody running a Zeraora. Yeah, I would still put it as one of the best junglers in the game.
I actually think so too. I think the damage is absolutely insane, but without sticking to too much conversation here. Mamoswine. BigShoes? You playing Mamoswine?
I think Type-1
Type 1.
has a better. Yeah.
Honestly, I'd like to keep where Mamoswine's at. I have no issues with it. It just depends on what team you're playing against. There's some teams you do amazing to have a Mamoswine, then there's other teams where you can't really do much. In this case, it's still the struggle of you have to be level 10 before you can really do much.
Yeah, I agree. I think all level 10 should be at the good or lower category. Machamp, this one's mine. I'm sticking where it's at. I have zero reason to change it. I don't think it's going to go up or down until maybe even the next patch. I do see them doing some love to that, though. Sylveon, Big Shoes, this one's for you, genuinely for you.
I mean, I think she's good in good tier still, as long as you can kite really well. I think a lot of people like Hyper Voice, but Mystical Fire and kiting is just, yeah, it's just a solid mon.
That damage deal from the Calm Mind and the Mystical Fire, I think that either keeps it at good or even moves it up to extremely good. But you have to have a good enough person with it to pair. Anything to add, Type 1?
No, I really don't have much to add to it. I feel like ever since they nerfed it, it's just been a lot easier to handle a Sylveon as long as it doesn't have a huge level advantage on you.
Yeah, I agree. All right, mine's God tier. Moving on. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have any reason to move it, to be honest. Cramorant, I think this is actually back to you again, Big Shoes.
Cramorant's still just good. You gotta have the teammates to follow up with his ult.
I will tell you what, though. That ult is absolutely disgusting. I hate it. It's gross. But it's pretty decent. Honestly, I think it's one of the better ults in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Type 1, anything to add?
No, I can't really add on much to that. That's basically what it is.
Okay. I think we did a tad bit of an injustice to Absol a little bit. I think moving it up to the lower end of good tier would be ideal, but again, this is not my category, so Type 1.
I would like to go ahead and put it in the good category as well. As long as you have at least one support on your team or you know what you're doing, Absol could easily be put into good or extremely good if you just know what you're doing.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen you play him, Big Shoes, but anything to add on that?
No, I think Type 1 got it.
Okay. See, I don't even know what to do with this thing because I've played 2 matches with it and I actually genuinely like it. I think Garchomp has made a case for me for good, but we can't just stick every mon in good. And I think out of all the other ones here, just because of the fact it takes so long to charge up, I think not so good is still where it belongs.
Yeah, that's really tough because after playing a few games with him, I'm pretty sure that Shoes and I can both agree here that maybe Garchomp really does belong in good. I mean, yeah, he does struggle with most of the game, but when you stack on his passive, he does significant damage on his basics alone. And then he just did get a boost to his Dragon Rush, so he does even more damage to that. So
Okay.
he's kind of busted at the moment, in my opinion.
I'm going to counteroffer. If you're going to put Garchomp in good, I'm moving Talonflame back up to extremely good low end.
I like that.
Okay.
That's fair.
All right. Wigglytuff is next, and I'm making a case for Dog Water.
I have no issues there. I
garbage.
haven't seen that.
Absolute garbage. I actually have not seen one since Greedent came out. I have not seen one since
Gengar.
Blissy went off. I haven't seen one since Greedent and Snorlax idea, which we're going to talk about at the end of this. But I think there's a case for not for Dog Water.
I would like to agree. I've been playing a bunch of ranks lately, and I've only seen one Wigglytuff in like my last 20 games.
Okay. Big Shoes, any thought?
No, I agree. 100%.
All right. None of us play Gengar, but I will say the recent buff, I'm afraid to move it. I still don't see people playing it.
From what I've played so far, his recent buff really shows. When he does his certain moveset with Hex, if you're poisoned, you're screwed. You will not live.
Okay. The only way I'm moving him up into good is if we move somebody down. Anybody got any thoughts here? 'Cause
I would generally like to move the Blastoise down, and I'd probably also move Alolan Ninetale still.
Really? That's bold.
Yes.
I think both of those do not equal a Gengar. Big Shoes, deciding factor here.
I'd at least move the Blastoise down, bring the Gengar up.
Okay. I am willing to throw down Machamp too. I think Alolan Ninetales is better than Machamp, and I think that everybody on the good category is technically better than Machamp, which means Machamp should not be in that category, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Okay. Pikachu.
Personally, I'm basically the flip of a coin on this one. Pikachu, actually, I could honestly fight for extremely good. His buff to his Volt Tackle and his Thunder makes it to where you take anywhere from half to 3/4 of an enemy's health.
Okay, we're gonna have to majorly disagree on this, but would it be fair if I put it right in the middle between where I think it is and where you think it is, as long as Big Shoes is relatively close to?
That's fine.
Okay, Big Shoes, what you got?
I think that Pikachu can be moved up in the not so good category. But not. There's just other special attackers that they do better.
Sorry, Type-1, you got outvoted because that's actually where I was gonna put it
fine.
too. 2 against 1, I have to leave it at not so good. I don't think the buffs were as noticeable. I think you have a little bit more sustain, and I think with a good partner you can be okay, but that's not enough when I see all these other special attackers who just do what it does better. Slowbro. Anybody here? Because I don't think any of us actually play Slowbro. Like, consistently. I know we've played it since the buff came out, but...
I mean, the recovery thing's nice for...
Say it again. You cut out for me.
I think for a defender, the recovery is nice, but, like, his moveset kind of just hinders him.
Yep.
Not much really to go around with it.
Is it enough to come out of dog water, or are we sticking in it?
I'd say just keep him in there for now.
I agree.
I actually agree as well. All right, so we're gonna leave Greedent for last, just because he's the newest addition, and I would actually like to spend a couple minutes talking about him. But we're gonna go ahead and go into Crustal. What do you guys think, real quick?
I still want to put him in the not so good category.
Yeah, I'd leave him there. The not so good. I think he was in dog water, but
He's just really technical to use. That's honestly it. If you don't do anything besides just Shell Smash and X Scissor, you really don't stand a good chance.
you're not a tank anymore.
Yeah, actually, I very much agree with that. Charizard.
I have no opinion.
Stronger than Machamp, weaker than Garchomp. That's kind of where I'm at.
I would put him in the not so good category right now too.
I think he's like right, if I'm being picky, which we're not doing that right now, but if I'm being picky, that's how I would have it, because I think he's better than Machamp.
I agree.
Greninja Type-1 and I are going to have some disagreements here. Possibly. But I think he fits in between, if there was a tier, between God tier and extremely good.
I would actually agree with you that he's not God tier because of him having the lowest health pool in the entire game, but his damage output and the lifesteal just makes him very sustainable.
I'm going to make an argument for God tier just because of the fact that as an attacker, he's still possibly one of the best junglers in the game, and his double team is so overpowered that good luck stopping it unless you have 3v1s.
It's fair enough. I'll gladly put him in the God tier. I mean, he is one of my main used Pokemon.
He is genuinely better than any of the speedsters as a jungler. I would still rather have the Talonflame for the snipe, but I digress. Big Shoes, input?
I think you guys are right on that.
Okay. Cinderace. This is kind of up for grabs for anybody, because while this is technically considered my main, Venusaur, I have a lot of games on Venusaur, but with the recent nerf, I'm scared to try him. I want to put Cinderace high good, low extremely good, but I think that there's going to be another balance here very shortly, and it's going to make Cinderace completely unusable. Now, I'm not going off of that because we haven't even seen that, but I'm making a case for that.
Extremely good is where I would keep him for right now.
I would too. Just the feint. I've seen a lot more people use it, and it gives him immunity basically from any crowd control or any moves for a minute.
Yeah, I still prefer the flame charge just because it's an extra boost, but I agree with you on that. Still there.
Yep.
That's not even a conversation. That's like the worst of dog water. Um, nobody tell
You
my
already know where
wife.
greeting goes.
Nobody tell my wife that I put Gardevoir in dog water.
And send. I'm sorry, what?
Shh. Everybody on YouTube, keep it down, okay? Greedent, I'm actually going to make a very strong case for very middle ground good.
I would like to argue that.
I know you would. I would like to hear from Big Shoes first.
Yeah, I'm gonna argue it too. Actually, the bar I put a lot of time into him as soon as he came out, and at first I thought he was really middle tier, but as a defender, I had to think about it as a defender, and I would want to put him in the extremely good category because he doesn't die as long as you play him right, and he deals a lot of damage.
I would like to agree with him in there just because of the simple facts. The either move his covet or his stuffed cheeks, you instantly get your belch back. It reduces the cooldown. And just for the simple fact, his Unite move is, you could arguably say it's probably one of the best, right beside Cramorant, because as soon as you do that, you can have an unlimited amount of belches until it's over.
Okay.
Actually, a Cramorant greed on your team probably just wins Zapdos.
I've seen it happen. You will melt a Zapdos if no one contests it in literally 3 seconds.
Okay. Okay. So hold on. Got to clear my voice for this one because this is where we can spend a little time and actually talk because this is going to be part 3. I wanted to make sure that the tier list got out properly. I think that we have everything good. I'm not unhappy with anything specifically. Let me move this to where you guys think you want it, and that's extremely good. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very happy to see it.
Name me one Mon that can 1v1 with that Greedent. Nope, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I bet you can't name me one Mon that's in the good category that couldn't beat Greedent one-on-one. Argument for it. With stuffed cheeks, yes, you get your health back. But if they come in and they know what you're doing, technically, I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but if they've saved their eject button and you stuff cheeks, they could eject button straight into your berries.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Okay.
You still get the movement speed increase, so you just run away until your stuffed cheeks comes back off cooldown.
Not against a pedal dance Venusaur. Not against a Sludge Bomb Hex Gengar. Not against the dashing power of Garchomp with Dragon Claw and Dig if you wanted to run that, which I don't know why you would, but you could get away with that. And by that time, your stuffed cheeks could possibly be up, but they're doing so much damage. And what if they even...
Absol Pursuit.
Absol Pursuit. Technically, you can hit them with that Ninetales block. Where are you going to go if you can't run?
My main thing is because as being it, and because you're going to build this, you're going to be building this as pretty much a tank to have a bunch of hits.
Mm-hmm.
He has so much sustain, he can pull off the damage and still get it. Because you can counter argue with that saying, as long as you know how to play him, you can easily get your health back, no problem. Because most of the time, from what I've seen, most Greedents will stay on their goals if they have low health and don't have their ability right at that moment.
One more counterpoint, and I'll give it up. If you can answer me this. Back-to-back belches can completely demolish a Sylveon, Mime, Cramorant, Ninetales.
Gengar.
Absol.
And Gengar. No, not Absol. I've tried it. Doesn't work.
Absol.
If you're matching
As
level,
long
it
as-
does not work.
Matching level? Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking matching level only. Nobody's up, nobody's down.
That's-
You're facing one-on-one. You can actually double tap and kill a Sylveon, a Mine, and a Ninetales. But that's it.
That's very surprising. I did not know that because from what I was told, or from what I've known, Absol's very glassy.
By that time, 2 of these Mons can out-sustain you, and 1 of them can actually set up to throw you back to the other team, to their team, for a Merc. Now, I'm talking setup plays here, and I know I'm reaching to try to get this thing to come down. I just don't think that it necessarily belongs in Extremely Good. I think there's so much setup against a Greedent, and I think while it's very gimmicky and fun, I think the newness is going to wear off, and people are going to go, you know, this really doesn't do that much more than anything else on this list.
If you, I'll say one thing: if you don't have full heal, you can put him in the good category. But if you have full heal, extremely good.
I don't run full heal anyway. I always run eject button, but I can't seem to get away from eject button. I put that on everybody, so that doesn't really even count.
I run Fluffy Tail on it.
Okay.
I steal everyone's farm off of it.
Actually, that sounds really nice. Fluffy Tail. You would almost even be able to... You could probably solo any objective with that in your
You can.
ult. Yeah.
That's how they melt it in 3 seconds.
So is Greedent the first defender jungle?
I don't think so. Squovet doesn't do enough damage to get it out.
How would Fluffy Tail in a double tackle?
I mean, yeah.
And he's got the sustain from Defense Curl.
And then when you get the Ludicolo in there, it'll actually do some decent damage there. I've seen only like 2 or 3 people do it, but I've been quite curious to try it myself to see what it'd be like.
All right, guys. You got our take on a tier list. Thank you for sticking around for part 1, 2, and finally the remastered number 3. We came back in and we changed some stuff up from the last update. We wanted to make sure that everything got in here accurate for you as much as we see it and how we play. Thank you guys for joining. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And until the next time, we'll see you for the next challenger, guys. Have a good one.